Welcome in, everybody. This is Grindhouse Scrims Week 14. I'm your host for the evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you, Def Jukies. And we have Para on the Doctor Xpirence versus Arrow 404 Survivors on Wretched Shop. Pit Shop set, pretty simple. No exhaustions for the most part, other than head on. And now we have Para here over checking at the 11 gen area, trying to shock and get the Survivor here. Jake is going to loop around the tire stack and probably go for the pallet. No, Jake decides to go ahead and greet it. Right now we have the add-ons Discipline and Range. So the shock delay when you are using your M2 as Doctor goes ahead and gets a shorter activation period. As you can see, Rapid Brutality and Sloppy Butcher as Jake runs over to the 12 side right now. Presumably should be dropping the pallet here, but chooses not to greet. So right about here is where your Survivor teammates should be coming in for the body block. We see right on cue with Hanatu going around bottom side right there by main. Gonna go ahead and keep looping around here at this dumpster pallet here. Very strong. The thing about Rapid Brutality over Stabiffle is that it helps get the down and secure when people come in for hits. So right now we're gonna get a static blast to check around for anyone who's trying to save. Absolutely no one home. Gonna go ahead and hook Bubba here on not the 12 hook, more towards the 1-ish side. So hook now right here. We also have Boyle over there. If you see the damage generator, that's a pain res. So right now the Doctor Para is gonna look around here at the side, trying to see if anyone's here. So this is where it gets a little tricky. So recently behavior just added 10 extra seconds to the hook. And I'm not sure if Para here is gonna try and camp out the second, as is the usual choice, but there's a gen right there that did pop, so that was pretty fast. I don't know if that was a double, but it very possibly could have been either that or Deja. Again, Static Blast also got a buff as well. If there's nobody that's getting Static Blasted, it's 30 seconds instead of the usual, minute. Now, right now, Para finds Ace here in the tile. That's going to be a hit over there, and I think Ace is going to have to try and stay here to wait for somebody to go for the unhook. Instead, Para just takes the tag, very happy to. Goes back and uses that range discipline to try and get the unhooked contested. And we do have the unhooked contested. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. Para knows where everybody is. Renatu is down at the bottom side, who just completed the gen. And now Claudette here has to be able to contest the unhook. But that's the issue with Doctor, is that if it's a double save, it's what you need to do with two healthy people. There are no two healthy people. And now it's just going to be a trade before second comes into play. Now, this is also another issue here. You have one person who just got healed. We have Jake, who's barely on second. And Jake is going to take all the way to bottom side, as he should. Now, does he make the pallet here? He does not. He does not. Jake died in the right spot away from everything so far, because the reset is happening elsewhere. And we want to see if Claudette can get up before the next hook comes in. I don't think so. Boil over also wasting precious time as well. So now we have Static Blast happening again. Now, this is the other thing about the buff. Instead of it being a flat minute like it was before, if you hit targets, I believe it's 45 seconds. So now get that range coming in right over there by the pallet. There is a down pallet right here next to the dump truck that we just saw. Same thing, Hanatu is going to have to go all the way down to the bottom side here, closer to Shaq. It's a 4-lane with the window right here. Excuse me if I don't remember my tiles correctly, but it's gonna be pretty close here, because I believe he has to drop this pallet, which he does not get. And now he's in tier 3, which means he cannot heal, and he will scream in the middle periodically, as you see is happening. FTP coming in right now to try and save Jake some more precious time. We only have 3 gens, and Jake gets stuck right there on the bus. A very sore point for a lot of survivors. So the issue here right now is that Jake is going to get tunneled out. You have one person who needs to snap out of it, another person who's injured, and another person who's broken. So this is big problems for Team 404 right now. And Shaq Pilot's about to not get dropped. It's going to be greeted, which I'm not sure if I agree with that. But you know what? I respect the effort. As we see right now, Bubba's going to get placed on that hook right there. And whether there was a shock or not, I believe that's what prevented the pallet from being dropped. My apologies. And we do have what is commonly known as the comp DC. So what we have now is 3 survivors at 3 gens. Xpirence with the upper hand. Para here again getting the shock. So now we're down to 2 gens. Very well played. So the win con is looking a little bit bleak at the moment. But what is important is that they try to get all gens done to give themselves a fighting chance on the other side. As of right now, this is looking pretty bad for 404. But we don't have a window right here, which I think Renatsu was thinking was going to be there, and instead hops locker, wastes some more precious time. And we're going to see if we can get a pain res in time to stop the next gen from being completed. Remember, Jake got hooked on one of these hooks here, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was... Yes, it was this one. And there it is, a pain res right there on cue. So Claudette greeting the gen, or either a miscom, one of the two. Again, Ace right here in tier 3, not the position you want to be in. It's going to be a chase here to Fun Bus area. And remember, they did split the Fun Bus and added the pallet right there. So Fun Bus is less strong than it used to be. But again, death spots are everything in a match like this. It's very important that Ace gets as far away from the action as possible. Either the person and waste as much precious time as possible. And the ping hit coming in there. As we can see. Gonna slug right here. No, Para being a little bit indecisive. That's about 2 seconds right there. But Sloppy Butcher is gonna help ensure that the heal doesn't get done. But we also gotta remember, we have ourselves a shortened Static Blast. So Static Blast will interrupt the heal. So again, Para looking up over here near the top side. Gonna be looking. And now here comes the Static Blast right here. And there is Habibi Samurai. Gonna be trying to greed this pallet and gets caught on the wrong side, unfortunately. Unfortunate. So now we have one person slugged, another person that's get hooked on the second stage. So Claudette has to play this extremely slow. And as you can see, the Doctor hallucination was over there showing where the slug was, which is something that happens in, I believe, tier 3 Doctor. But again, we have a missed skill check, it seems. Either that or a pallet drop, can't really tell. As we can see here, Claudette just going to go ahead and edge max to the side of the map right there. And Claudette is going to get downed, unfortunately. Can't tell if they were trying to vacuum for the pallet or not. Unfortunate. Now, again, the same strategy is going to keep on going. They're going to try and do their best to extend chases as much as possible and force the Doctor to make a mistake either by macro or micro and try to get at least one more gen done. As you can see, this gen has a lot of progress here, and I don't believe that was a pain res on that gen. As you can see, they had to kick the gen, which, you know, can make all the difference in the world in this sort of a situation. These sets are usually played fairly slow, but that extra static blast timing is just really just getting into them right now. It's going to go ahead and, well, I guess the Doctor's just going to go ahead and commit to this chase. With the gen as much progress as that, they'd have to pretty much prioritize who is a pain res, because that gen is likely going to get done. So if I'm the Doctor, I commit to this chases for about a while, and if not, that gen is going to get done, which both of them are on right now. But at this point, like I said, they're playing for a win con. They're not playing for outs, and unfortunate. BB Samurai going down. And Para going to go ahead and play it safe and recognize that the 4K1 is a likely better win con to secure than to risk at 4K0. So as you can see, Static Blast is back, and we have the 2 survivors left. So now, this is where it gets really tricky. We have a 2v1 right now with 1 gen remaining. Current gen spread is over at main, over by Shack side. And I believe over at 12 side, if I'm not mistaken. That extra Static Blast cooldown going to come in handy. As you can see, they're going to go ahead and play Shack side. And as we can see, there's someone in the basement, it looks like, or the Claudette is hiding there, possibly. I can't tell. Ace is going to go ahead and probably greet this one more time, but that discipline is nasty, and especially with the ping difference that could happen in customs. So it definitely feels a lot different than it would in probably a dedicated public match. That being said, as we can see, gen spread is pretty much hopeless here. We have the dump truck side, we have the 6th gen, and we have main. So at this point, the play can either be try and slug for the 4K or just go by gens completed and play it that way. But there's still nothing here. We did progress here on main. And Para's going to look around a little bit longer, I think. But the one thing about having Ace in tier 3 is that it's going to give Para a chance, basically base kit Deerstalker, if you will, with Face the Darkness, just to know where the slug is. So Para's going to walk around here. So the biggest thing with this set is that it has to be played very well. The execution has to be near perfect because there are no exhaustions to make up for positioning mistakes, which is usually what makes these sets so high kill rate. That being said, if a team plays perfectly, extremely well, or otherwise, you know, to the highest of their ability, this will usually result in an average of about 2k6, 2k8. But it's very common for survivors to get 4k on this match. So again, Pear looking around for Claudette and just says, you know what? I'm tired of hearing Juki's talk about the match. I just want to go to the next one. So, as you see here, we have a damage generator here with the pain res, which was nice. And we only have one fresh remaining. So right now as it stands, remember, it goes by gens, hooks, and freshes. So the win con for the survivors as it stands at the moment is going to be somewhere around, I believe, all gens complete. And I think that right now Para is realizing maybe that maybe the bleed out might have been an option here. But again, that might have not been the right play either. But now Para looking around in the lockers, looking to see if someone went to Narnia in the meantime. We have a pallet here down still, so there's still a chance for, you know, some chases to happen if Claudette decides to play this risky. But however, we have to take into consideration Claudette could be stealthing somewhere near the top side of the map or very much in basement. I did see a hallucination doctor down in basement, and like I said, I can't remember if elevation changes that. Someone in the chat's probably correcting me right now as we speak. So right now we got the unhook here. I guess Claudette wants to play this out, and I mean, it is Scrim Nights. What can we say? Get everybody some practice in, let everybody play their matches out, and who knows, maybe this is what will help them beat Team Eternal in the coming years. So as we see, Claudette go ahead and pre-drops the pallet here. We have tier 2, which means that Claudette is going to show a red stain while in chase because that is the effect of discipline. So Claudette goes ahead and pre-drops it right over here. And again, the safe play is to break the pallet. Instead, Para tries to go for the mind game, and I don't know if that's going to be the best play, but zones properly to the other side, which is great. But also the window is that direction. So zones them back into the map, which, you know, at this point, you know, get the practice in. It's okay. Well, I guess Claudette sees that we're not edge maxing anymore. We're bottom powering. So you know what? That's fine. Claudette goes ahead and gets themselves a hook right here in basement. As we could see, it's 4 fresh. I apologize. I was not... I was looking at the pain res as many of us do and assuming based on that. So now, right now, we have static blast happening. There goes Ace over there, tier 3. Basically a matter of time. Claudette going to be struggling for her life at the moment. And you know what? I'll just let them play it out right now. I think that the play is going to be to obviously waste enough time to try and get to hatch and basically play per the count right now. But unfortunately, it's... Well... You know, I'm going to let you cook. I'm going to let you cook. So Ace cooked pretty hard right now. Burnt the kitchen down just like I did when I brought Cruel Limits in a actual comp match. So, you know what, Ace? I applaud you, but I'm Gordon Ramsay. Get out of my kitchen at the moment. Anyways, that's going to be 4K1, and that means win con is 4K0. Para, obviously, getting the 4K with quite the strong build. Survivors played very well as well. They brought that back, kicking and screaming, and you know what? I can't wait for the next round. So, I'm Def Jukies here with Grindhouse Scrims, Week 14, Xpirence versus Arrow 404. Xpirence up 1 match. So actually, no. We still have another match coming up. So, stay tuned. Switching teams right as we speak. And... We are back with the set here on Wretched. Grindhouse, Scrims, week 14. It is now Arrow 404's team's turn against Xpirence, and we have Soul here with quite the aggressive build. We have Rapid, Stabiffle, Corrupt, and the obvious Pain Res. So, same add-ons apply, same map, obviously different spawn points, but Chase is going to start here with Ace right now. So, the win con needs to be, if I'm not mistaken, for Killer, 4K2 for Survivor, 4K all. So, unfortunately, Ace taking the the pallet tag. Man, I guess I was stunned by that too. Ace right now is going to try and play this tile a little bit, but for some reason, Soul's going to try and swing a little bit too early. Ace going back around. There's going to be a body block coming in here from Nia, as they should. Remember, there's different perks that people use in these sorts of scenarios where you're supposed to body block. So Nia should have probably taken that a little bit closer, but now we have a slug on the ground with Rapid Brutality, and we have Fun Bus down. So really right now, what people use to avoid body blocks or to punish them is Force and Sloppy, Rapid, or Stabiffle. And usually people use Sloppy on Doctor because the Static Blast interrupts heals, and also just to slow down healing, since usually no healing perks are allowed in this set, or any of the usual suspect ones. Botany will make it. I'm looking at you. That being said, Soul's going to play this a little bit aggressively. Going to go ahead and not break the pallet here towards mid. Going to look around here and try to proxy a little bit and get some value out of Static Blast, which is going to be up very soon. Right now, they are looking for somebody here. Claudette here at the left side of the map, and Soul says, you know what, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and proxy back towards mid. If I was Meg and Nia, at this moment, they are likely sitting a different gen and trying to get some progress. So clearly Soul has the idea, but just looking at the 3-gen that Soul has right here, I don't think Soul wants to stray too far away. Unfortunately, that Static Blast did not get anything right now. You know, we're just going to go ahead and let Soul cook a little bit. Like I said, you know, everybody to everybody. We're all Gordon Ramsay to kick people out of the kitchen, but, you know, sometimes the ingredients are rancid and we got to make do with what we do. So, Soul is going to go ahead and go back over here towards mid-hill. As you can see, they are trying to play for the 4K all win con. They're going to let... well, I guess Claudette's going to let themselves be seen here, unfortunately, once the Survivor gets to second stage. Claudette's going to go ahead and take this chase all the way up towards the main area, but it seems pretty much that Meg and Nia are content to sit on a gen. Now, I'm not sure if I agree with how aggressive this play is right now, because Meg's going to have to play this tile and make their way away to another gen. So you have two gens that are 99, another gen over on bottom side that's about 70% done-ish, and you have Nia who's about to take a tag right here. So if you notice, Soul is very happy to go ahead and let the Meg go because Meg is the obsession. Stabiffle coming in play. Even though it got nerfed, there's not very much better options in terms of chase perks on Doctor. Rapid and Stabiffle being the two major ones. So Soul looking around here near Fun Bus. I don't think Soul broke that pallet, but unfortunately it looks like Nia's going to get past the body block, and that's going to be a death onto Ace at the very last second. So this is problems of the highest order. They essentially sacrificed a full 3-stage death on Ace, took a tag as well, and also have a gen that is obviously progress that they're going to try and stop right now. So it looks like Soul is probably going to be catching up to them pretty quickly in terms of win con and stage lead. So Claudette, either with the hesitation or the ping, gets down right there. And we are going to know where Meg is because of tier 3. And so Soul is going to go ahead and be happy to take probably this pain res. It is. So that gen over there near shack area-ish is going to be damaged again. But then we also have what looks like there to be a kind of a 4-gen here. But if you notice, there was a split second where there was a hallucination doctor in the distance. So I think that, well, I don't think, I know that there's somebody there now. But doing the proper rotation to try and extend the play. And Nia is going to have to drop this pallet, but instead is going to go ahead and greed around another time. Now, this is where discipline can get a little bit tricky. I believe even though it's been nerfed to like 20% or something to that effect that makes the static blast change, Base Kit Doctor is still a lot stronger than people give it credit for. And I think Nia was trying to, again, we got the edge maxing palette over here that everybody seems to fall in love with. But you know what? I think Soul is like, I show speed and is going to break that edge maxing streak. So, we are looking here at a 4K 2 likely at this rate. But Para and Claudette are going to have to probably split up on gens here, which is tough right here. And it seems like they are splitting on the right gens, but now Para is tier 3, I believe. If not, that might be tier 2 because the graphic there is a little bit scuffed. I think it is tier 2 still. So, a little bit late on the static blast, shock therapy right now, and as you can see, Para is going to be looping for their life here on the double window tile. So Para is also going to go run over Jack, going to pre-drop that, and this is where Rapid Brutality can kind of take the place of Brutal, which is distance lost when taking the hit is going to be gained. Now, I don't think Soul is going to be too keen on taking this chase because they have 4 stacks of Stabiffle, and I don't think that they want to, you know, use the rest of them. But if the team hasn't come up and realized that Soul is running Stabiffle, I think that there could be an opportunity for a grab or a locker to preserve stacks. As you can see here, Soul with the 2000 IQ brain play here. And it looks like either we're having some sort of difficulty with internet here on the Claudette, or they realized that they were tier 3 and they couldn't FTP. So now we have survivor dead, 1 survivor unhooked, 2 survivors on the ground actually, and 1 survivor I believe in tier 2 who's also the Obsession with 7 stacks of Stabiffle. So as we can see, it looks like this is pretty much going to be over here. If I'm Soul here, I try and I go interrupt the pickup. Well, I think that Para was trying to go greed for that last gen, so as we can see here, Para gets caught by the mind game. We have 4K3. So remember, like I said, that with the Doctor set and these sorts of sets, it's extremely has to be mistake-free. So it's extremely difficult when somebody makes a missed comm or they otherwise make a mistake here. So at this point, Claudette DCing, basically saying, hey, I'm dead, it's GG. And I suppose Nia's probably going to follow suit here maybe. But our wonderful referees will have to sort that out. But I think at this point, a penalty is kind of inconsequential because of the win con as it was. So Soul really just did a phenomenal job at capitalizing on their mistakes. The biggest thing about playing killer and comp isn't necessarily playing, it's always playing better than your opponent, but what is important is capitalizing on the mistakes and making sure that the pathing was good. So as you can see, the big turning point here, in my opinion, other than the miscom by Nia, or was it the ace on hook, I couldn't really tell, was the fact that Nia tried to greed this pallet right here and then tried to go to the top edge pallet. And then I think Claudette, while trying to FTP or realizing it was tier 3 or just giving up, just decided that it was too much there. So it looks like Xpirence will have to go back to the drawing board, and we're going to treat him like Jimi Hendrix. Are you experienced? And it looks like that Soul's wise words in the lobby about making Katy Perry proud. Well, Soul, at this point, you're a California girl to us. All the same, thank you so much for this wonderful display of talent, Soul. Same thing, Arrow 404, well played. Well, we're going to move on to, the, I believe, the unknown set, question mark. If not, I'll figure it out which one it is, and I'll get right back to you. We're at Grindhouse Week 14. We'll be right back at you. 4 years ago, our ancestors crossed the Potomac to give us the Entity Unknown set. Here, it is Grindhouse Scrim Night, Week 14 still. And we have Para here on the Unknown. So, as sort of a show of good faith, Error 404 waived the penalty Xpirence, so Xpirence is actually going to be playing first right now instead of second. So, Para is back on the the killer, the unknown here. So again, what I was saying about Suffo is that Suffo is a very macro-heavy set. The biggest thing is to hold choke here. And as you can see, they already snuck past right here, which the issue with running Corrupt runs into that issue, is that if you're not holding your choke properly, then you can get people running on bottom side, and you're essentially rendering your corrupt fairly iffy. I wouldn't say the word useless. So right now we have Para here chasing down Hinatu, Habibi Samurai, going right down the top side as we speak. So Para's going to try and shoot for the back rev, but it's not going to happen here. And of course, Hinatu has the right idea, and that is not a hit. That was pretty aggressive over the God Rock here, though, as many ladder players like to affectionately call it. Now, this is where the add-ons come into play here. We have Blurry Photo. We also have Nia getting hit right here. And we have, I believe, the Grippers add-on. So the Grippers add-on, what it does is that if you get hit, weakened, I should say, by the power, it reduces the hallucination spawn by, I believe, 20 seconds. So right now, what Para's trying to do is trying to hold choke loosely while also trying to get as many tags as possible. 2 people injured. Hinatu just got himself shown right here, and we have exhaustions on this set, if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see, Habibi Samurai does take the tag there. And if I'm Para, I think the best thing to do would be leaving Hinatu to essentially stay weakened on the top of the map so no gens get done. So Para over here trying to go around the bottom side. As you can see, Bubba on the Atom looks like they had snuck around there and started work gen. Now we have 3 people weakened. We have 2 people injured. The injured are likely going to be resetting up top. And right now, Ace is giving the... Actually, they doubled that gen. And there's a long tag over there from Nia. You know, giving her the old good Shannon Sharp right now. So we can see right now that Ace goes and drops the pallet. So... now, this is where it gets tricky. Once the gens start getting split, and this is part of the issue when you don't run Ruin on this map, is that being able to keep all gens either regressing or damaged, or find a gen to essentially choose which one that they want to, well, choose what they want to defend, and Habibi Samurai going down to the Looper Gooper, or as someone on our staff is affectionately called, the Sloppy. Now, the thing about Agi and Pain Res is that it allows you to make the map your playground, essentially. You can go across the map whichever direction you go. We have a missed skill check there on the top 10. So, Nia still weakened, still injured, and Ace injured, Soul on the bottom right there. So we only have 1 gen done, but we do have progress on multiple gens. So at this time right now, what Para's a little bit hesitant to do is to put... Jesus Christ. I don't think Para's hesitant to do anything at this point. Now, right now, there's a lot of pressure, and this is what makes Unknown a very 4K heavy set. The difference between Unknown and Doctor is that Doctor is very mistake-free type of survivor gameplay, but there are also... no exhaustions. With Unknown, still mistake-free, there are exhaustions. So people tend to underestimate how difficult Unknown can be to play against. When literally, as you can see, there's hallucinations all over the place around the hook, allowing for people to either get injured or proxy somebody, put gen pressure, and on top of that, the Unknown's basic attack still procs the usual perks such as Jolt, Surge, Sloppy, things of that nature, but Para's deciding to go with a more traditional build in the sense of relying on Pain Res, trading at the hook, and using Brutal to walk people down. So again, right there, Para with a great shot on Soul there, bottom side, and kind of holding this sort of 4-gen. So it's almost like Plague in lots of ways, but the thing about it is with Plague is that people play a lot more safe on both sides because they're always staying injured. But as you can see here, the Nia is just happy to go down and take the tag, unfortunately. And right there, we have second win coming in, and I believe on the Atom. So, if you remember, Atom had reset the Nia down on the bottom side of the map when that gen had procced. And what that did was is give second win. Second win makes it so that a serve, I believe, can heal. And that's a little bit of a quirk, too, is that with second wind, it does a broken effect that's supposed to last commensurate with the healing that's supposed to go on with the perk. But as you can see right there, Ace on the sprint burst question mark, or one of them is for sure, Vigil makes that broken go away before the hit actually happens. A bit of a quirk there. So we have Nia slugged over there at the top. We have Hinatu injured somewhere, and Ace chasing down right here. Runs right into the weekend. And also remember activating the Grippers add-on. And now we can see right here where we have a variation of like a God Rock thing and wrong side of the bounce of the Sloppy Toppy. And Blurry Photo coming in there and giving the quick down. So right now we have 2 hooks and 2 gens completed. So Para has to make a decision about where to hook the Survivor. Now, again, it goes back to the same thing about the strategy sort of with Plague, that sort of thing, whereas the macro is extremely heavy, but at the same time, too, Unknown is consistently more deadly. Now, we do have a gen that just got complete, I believe, topside. So if you look at the gen spread here, it's a little bit iffy. The 3 gen is right here. And now this is another thing about 3 genning with the Unknown, is that if everybody can heal without at the cost of giving power, unlike Plague. So what they have to figure out is to do is, one, well, reset away from the hook. Unfortunately, Para finds them right here. They tag the Nia. Para goes and tees down back the mid section right there. Gives Adam a good tag right there. And now Soul is going to be running for their life, heading back down to Shaq. If I'm not mistaken, Shaq was already dropped when Soul was running and looping right now. There is no hit on the UVX there. So again, same thing is going to happen right here. Let's see if Soul remembers to look across Water Tower. And right now we have Soul thinking to die in the right spot as opposed to trying to loop the pallet, which I can up that. But that's where Agi comes into play here. Now that gen gets done, now Para's thinking about where to put the Ace on the hook. So now we have Ace down here at the bottom side, and we still kind of have a loose 3 gen. We have the mid gen right here, where they're resetting likely over there. And we have Adam, who's still weakened and is very close to being hit. Unfortunately, gets stuck on that weird part of the wall that creates the UVX insta-break. And then we do have a nice ping hit right here by the Adam getting hit right there. We have Hinatu over there in the distance. We have ourselves a teleport hallucination right here. It's looking pretty spicy right now. So this is where the game has to slow down quite a bit. The survivors have to play for the unhook. However, the killer has to play for the 3 gen. So unfortunately, giving the unhook for free right there, and this is where the UVX comes into play right here, is that it makes things a little bit more difficult for the survivors. Think of it like Nemesis with Hell States, where the power can affect them and do things like this. Now, I don't know if I agree with that decision to FTP, because now Nia is going to be broken for quite some time, and they're going to probably reset with them, so the Vigil is going to bring down the broken status effect. Now we have Ace here, dead at the bottom side right here. We have our 3 gen here in the mid, and we have giant walls that are stopping the survivors from being right there. Looks like they're going to get last gen done. Very well played by the survivors. Very well played. And now we're just going to have to see how the rest of it shakes out. As of right now, I am thinking it is going to be probably a 2K6, if not 2K7. I think that's possible, but don't quote me on that. I'm just a caster. So now we have right here, Para going to be walking them down with the Agi. And that looks like it is indeed going to be... No, not outs quite yet. Natu and Adam are still trying to figure out what they want to do, and they're going to be trading hits right here. And actually, it looks like it's going to be 1K6 then. So 1K6 is not an uncommon result on this map. Of course, Nia wasting as much time right there and showing, you know, that they're the better player at the moment. But very well done by the survivors on Air 404. Xpirence, even with the long day, gotta give props for coming out and still playing. We'll be right back with the other match is at this moment. Never lacking on my Mac until the internet is cracking. I'm back here with another set here of Unknown Suffo 1. As we can see, the last result was 1K6 on Xpirence. We have Air 404 now playing the Unknown with Soul on the Unknown. So everything I said about strategy, all of that stuff, right now it's just a race to who gets to 7 stages. So Soul's going to play this quite aggressively at the moment. We have Eruption, Pop, and Pain Res. And Soul kind of looking through the peephole a little bit here. Don't know if that's a hit that can be taken, but you know what? Sometimes that's just how things go. And Terra, with the check spots right here, holy molars. Gonna go run around here and almost get down, but we do have a hinder that does get applied on a serve that gets tagged by the UVX, but not necessarily explodes on them. So they're looking right here, as it seems, probably for a pallet save, which I'm not sure if Soul is gonna pick. Soul insta-picks right here, and I don't know if that was the play there, but now the Corrupt is gone. Now 2 serves right here, and now you have, again, Terra suffering from the NA check spot curse once again. Oh, Soul gets a pretty decent pallet down out the way, sees that there's another person who wasn't working at Gen, and is probably about to get Pain Res right here. Soul going ahead and putting that on there. So now this is the fun part about Pop Eruption and Pain Res, is that Pop will put on a different gen other than the one that's progressed, unless there's a lot of progress on it, on the Pain Res gen. And now Soul pretty much gets to have their way with everybody. Again, suffering from the NA check spot curse. Oh my lord. But that being said, Soul just going to go ahead and probably proxy this. Has Hanatu pinned on the top side of main. And now we have, again, the member coming out and bounces off the tree, unfortunately. This is what happens sometimes when you play in. So, Soul is going to go ahead and, again, try and proxy sort of the 3-gen area right here. Put down a hallucination right there. And the NHL curse strikes again! Oh, my lord. At this point, I think that we're going to have to create an excise video for everybody to watch. But, you know what? At the end of the day, just get yourself your practice in. That's what we're all here for. So, Soul going to go ahead and put them right back on the hook here. Another Pain Res. Remember, 2 gens have popped thus far. I've been too busy critiquing the NA check spots, but I think I got NA brain rot when it comes to macro. So, Soul going to go ahead and kind of look down at the bottom side right there. Hit them with that from Timbuktu, and also have 2 people who are weakened. So it looks like it could be a double tag, but Parad plays very patiently right here. So now Para has this pallet right here and going to get rid of the weakened. Soul recognizes that and pressures the top side, but unfortunately uses the teleport hallucination on the wrong one. Remember, this is a race to 7 stages right here. Soul is going to go and look around and try to find the reset. And gonna go for style points right here, I suppose. You know, didn't think that could fit through that hole, but you know what? Soul definitely proved me wrong. Katy Perry would be proud. So, as we can see, we have Midwest the Demon going down there. Is he thinking? Yes, he is. Midwest the Demon's going down over there towards bot mid area. And again, this is the tough part about this killer, is that if you don't commit to a chase, then you have to play the 3-gen game. But sometimes what seems like it could be a win just based off of the down chase situation can be unfortunate like that. And Soul trying to play that NA West-esque internet, but unfortunately not the case here. Soul is trying to chase the person who is playing the killer, so they know about the UVX blowing up on the side of the wall. I know we get excited by the sloppy toppy, but sometimes, you know, just gotta, you know, ground and pound it. So Jake playing the God Palette here at the crates and gets hit by the insta UVX break. So now Jake is gonna go back down the bottom side. We have 2 gens that are just about ready to pop right here, and this is gonna get interesting. So unfortunately, Nia gets caught lacking right here on the gen. And Nia's going to have to run over there. So the main is still up. And Nia gets hit with the UVX from downtown. So again, we have a pallet right here. We have 2 people injured. And it looks like we're going to be down to 1 gen in just a second here. So I don't know if going for that gen was the play. I believe it might have been better to just go ahead and give up on that and proxy the rest. Because they're either going to 99 the gen or they're just going to pop it and pressure the top gens. So at this moment right now, it's kind of at a crossroads. We have 3 stages with 2 gens left, but it's pretty close to there being only 2 gens. Excuse me, all gens done. So now, the unhook comes into play. There's 1 person down there. We have a gen right here that is progressed We have a Nia that is about to be on Death Hook shortly. We have a missed skill check, unfortunately. Or not even that, an interruption by Para right there. So that's another thing. Unfortunately, this is actually going downhill very fast right now. Midwest the Demon about to get sent to heaven and face judgment, and instead they just decide to go ahead and show that they got the juice. So we have Nia that is getting picked up right now. Nia is about to be on Death Hook right now once this happens. And not for one has Soul kicked any of these top gens with Eruption. So, reminder, we do have one Pain Res remaining. But we do have one person injured and 2 people weakened. We have someone on the ground. So Soul has to play this really strict to make sure that they commit to defending this top choke point, but also making sure that they don't get rid of their weakness in the meantime. So go ahead and look around here near the log pile and also check around the hill area, and isn't even thinking about shooting up the sloppy toppy. They're pretty happy to stick the member in the hole over there earlier and try and get some shots, but right now it looks like that Soul's playing some restraint and thinking that maybe it's not the time to go busting all over the place. So what we have here is Soul looking down at what looks like could be the 2 people working the final gen. But for some reason, I don't know if this was the play. And then there's also hallucination right there. So you have somebody who's got a stealth over here for, unfortunately, gets their wood stuck on the wood, is going to have to hold choke right here. You have one person dead. You have another person injured. This looks like it's probably going to be 4K all or 4K 1. But, unfortunately, there goes down Jake doing a backflip. If this was Tony Hawk, I would give them 600 points. But next time I would do a McTwist. So Soul gets stunned here by the pallet. You have Hinatu that's looking around in the back there. Probably in a locker, if not right there. I'm kind of just looking back. As we can see, gets downed. It is 2 slugs, person up. And at this point, Soul could choose to hook both of them. And unfortunately, Para's just going to FTP. And I think this is curtains, folks. So this is going to be 4K1. Remember, this is very much either a 4K1 or a 2K set. And the thing about it that's always interesting about that sort of thing is that when people who are spectators listen to the concept of 4K1 versus 2K6, they don't understand how close it can be. And unfortunately, this is just one of those sets where there are a couple mistakes there in terms of their macro on serve, and getting caught 3 separate times here that made it difficult for them to come back. When you're giving 3 tags to a kid can teleport across the map, it's extremely difficult to come back and make sure that you're playing things efficiently. And so as you can see right here, enjoying themselves, again, sticking the member in the hole and trying to get the shots off. Some people like it, some people don't. But as you can see right here, Para's going to go ahead and slug again. It looks like it's probably going to bleed out. Para wants to try and get those extra blood points in a custom match. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I think Soul's going to try and play this cart a little bit, maybe M1. As you can see, the AD tech right now is going to go ahead and hold W there. So now at this point, I think Soul's realizing, hey, the game's pretty much over. I should probably just take a look and be happy. So Midwest the Demon getting put on hook, and it looks like this is going to be curtain. So this is, look, it's going to be a 2-0, and because of delays, we're likely going to, actually, we're just going to probably end up being curtains there for us. The thing about also is that with the Unknown set, is the killer hasn't been around for that very long. People have to learn the counterplay, people have to know the counterplay, and people have to execute it perfectly. So even if 2 of those 3 conditions are met, where they learn and know it, they still have to execute, and it just didn't look like it came up that way. But to both teams, thank you for giving us entertainment tonight, and I look forward to seeing them continue to participate, grow, and just, honestly, I love watching Unknown sets. It's such a fun killer to play and watch, and when someone plays the character perfectly well, it's one of the most entertaining things in Dead by Daylight. So, that's going to be 2-0 in favor of Air 404. I am your host, Goro Majima Def Jukis. Thank you so much.